Welcome to Late Night Vibes with Anil Sohani here on NTV Houston. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Episode 12 is underway. That's right, a dozen in the bank already. So happy and so pumped to have you all out there joining us here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. That's right. Very times 12. Let's just say very times 12 because you know the routine. Special guest coming into the studio in just a bit. He has just done everything. I'm out of breath just thinking about it or talking about it. Holy smokes, I got to read this whole list out to you. He's a former NASA colleague with Carl Sagan and the Voyager project, also known as SETI, S-E-T-I. We'll talk about that in just a bit as well. Also, previously a live event producer with Cheech and Chong, the Moody Blues, and so many amazing other acts out there, Willie Nelson included. And of course, an improv comedy connoisseur. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? We have somebody from the comedy world joining us who had some experience, and he'll talk about that more in detail in just a bit. And of course, the list goes on and on. But lately, he's been leading the live streaming of the Houston Symphony. It's the only nonstop live streaming happening for a symphony in the country. And of course, it's from our hometown, H-Town, Houston, Texas. Houston Symphony Stream Lead. That's a mouthful. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the great Alan Ames in the studio in just a bit, so sit tight. It's going to be a great time. In fact, I want to leave most of this whole show up to talking to Mr. Ames. Alan has been such an amazing, interesting person to talk to prior to the shooting, and can't wait to pick his mind, pick his brain about anything and everything in life. From the cosmos, NASA, to Cheech and Chong, if you know what I mean. So fun times ahead. Sit tight. We're going to chop it up with Alan in just a bit. Life events, I guess a little update. Yes, married life has been interesting. This is the second weekend of the new year, and we're having a great time adjusting, and really happy to have such an amazing partner in my life. And so I wore my ring this time. Yay, I wore my ring. Yeah, there you go. There's been a little tidbit issue with that. I keep forgetting to wear my ring everywhere I go. It's terrible. I don't wear too much jewelry anyway, so I just have this little, the double emoji of the, the evil eye kind of thing. I got my watch, Apple Watch, and then the ring. So now trying to simplify, trying to be a minimalist, and trying to make it to my shows on time and have amazing guests like we do right now. And that's all I really want to update you guys with before we get into this next segment. And like I said, pretty pumped to have Alan Ames in the studio. Sit tight. We'll be back with more Late Night Vibes with Anil Sohani here on NTV Houston.
Amazing things for you.
59 और वेस्ट बेलफोर्ड पर है नुक्कड़ ढाबा, जहां के मशहूर जमाना बॉम्बे तंदूरी चिकन, पहाड़ी बोटी, चिकन चटपटा और बटर चिकन तो आप जानते ही होंगे। अगर आप बॉम्बे चाइनीज खाना आप पसंद करते हैं तो जरूर उनके चिकन लॉलीपॉप और चिकन चिली ट्राई करिएगा। और एनटीवी ह्यूस्टन का नाम लेने पर स्पेशल है $1.99 में कॉर्न सूप। सुबह 8 से लेकर रात के 2 बजे तक नुक्कड़ ढाबा आपकी खिदमत के लिए खुला होता है। For takeout and other inquiries, call 281-575-1178 at the corner of West Belfort and 59, Nukkad Dhaba.
During the season's best sales event, Ron Carter Cadillac delivers 0% APR for 72 months plus $2,500 bonus cash on all 2020 XT4, XT5, and XT6. Or drive 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection only $299 a month. 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection just $369 a month. And first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection just $399 a month. All for 39-month lease with just $1 down.
RonCarterCadillac.com.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service, striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Welcome back to Late Night Vibes with Anil Sohani here on NTV Houston. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Second segment, episode 12. I add my own special effects because my editors are lazy. I'm joking around. I love you guys. You're amazing. Very special guest, of course, in the studios. Pretty pumped. Really times 12 pumped to have this next gentleman in the studios. I got to read this because there's so much going on. Please don't mind. But NASA colleague with Carl Sagan and the Voyager project, also known as SETI, S-E-T-I, and I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Live event producer with Cheech and Chong, as well as the Moody Blues and so many others, Willie Nelson included. There you go. And oh my goodness, one of my favorite topics ever, improv comedy connoisseur in the studios as well, and the list goes on. But lately, he's leading the streaming for Houston Symphony. That's right. The Houston Symphony has been streaming nonstop, killing the game. Best place to go for your symphony needs. Of course, definitely check that out. And today, ladies and gentlemen, he is my guest here on the show. Please make it a loud, welcoming intro for Mr. Alan Ames. Come on down.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me here today.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your wild schedule, man. What's going
pleasure.
on?
Crazy times we're living in, isn't it?
Yeah. This is crazy. It's a Sunday special, so pretty pumped to have you in the studio. What a week. Second week of New Year's already wrapped up. And how has New Year's been so far for you?
Well, it's been nice and pleasant, and I've kind of taken things a little slower this past year. So we basically stayed home and enjoyed the family, doing a little bit more introspection these days, and it's a good thing. We should all try more of that.
True. I wholeheartedly agree. And so, let's just get into it. There's so much meat here. I'm so excited. Houston Symphony stream lead right now, working with NASA, and Carl Sagan and the Voyager project, live event producer with Cheech and Chong. Holy smokes, I gotta say, who, what, when, where, why. And did I mention how you got to all these accolades in your life with these platinum plaques and so on?
Well, it's been a long road, that's for sure, and one that certainly wasn't planned. It just kind of happened, and I was what they call a no-talent bum that just got lucky, kind of fell into things, and they just kept steamrolling forward. I started as a actor at a performing arts university in San Diego, California.
Wow.
And changed my major to directing with a minor in acting. And as my senior thesis project, we created an improvisational theater company called Indian Magic.
Indian Magic.
Which
Indian we talking? We talking red dot like my
Native
South Asian?
American Indian Magic, which in the 70s was had some undertones, let's say, with creativity and stretching the bounds of normality.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and we started off doing. We took scenes from Shakespeare, the comedy scenes, and we would just extract those and put them together and do a Reader's Digest version of Hamlet. Wow. And crazy little things that the Shakespeare Society would castrate us for, but we did it, and the audience just loved it. So we then started actually creating our own material and improvising, and came up with sketches and skits that we did, and we spent 2 years in Balboa Park in San Diego doing street theater.
Whoa! And
we're seen by some of the Comedy Store scouts, and we went up to Los Angeles and played the Comedy Store. We played the Improv, the Laugh Factory.
There you go.
Then that's turned us on to a short-lived television series that we had called Sky's the Limit.
Sky's the Limit.
That then rolled us over to the Fernwood Tonight Show with Martin Mull and Fred Willard from Second City TV.
Yeah.
And from there, we actually hit the Gong Show, and
the Gong Show.
That was the epitome of that particular round. While I was in Los Angeles, I started acting and getting involved in the Hollywood situation and scene, and eventually got involved in the computer graphics and animation laboratory for Columbia College, and I ran that for them for a couple of years, and that's where I got my computer science and image processing background, which then led me to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where I was part of the imaging processing and retrieval team for the Voyager space program.
Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. So you went from LA to Columbia, New York, we're talking, correct?
Yeah, well, yes. We were on the 47th floor of the Chrysler Building. It was New York Institute of Technology owned Columbia College at that particular time. Yeah.
Man, you went from coast to coast. So you pursued acting and working on those projects and comedy and everything on the West Coast.
They had a big campus in New York. So they purchased the Columbia College in Hollywood. And so I was there in Hollywood. And when they started the computer animation program with the Images computer software that they had developed, they brought me to the Chrysler Building and gave me my training there. And I spent a month in in New York, learning how to work the different pieces of machinery and the software programs. And then I came back to Columbia College, established the curriculum, and then I was the lead instructor for 2 years before I went back to NASA a second time.
You came back and it was Veni Vidi Vici. I came, I saw a Concord. You created your own curriculum and you started instructing. That's amazing right there. Yeah. So when you went to NASA for imaging, what was it like, meeting Carl Sagan? At that time, of course, it wasn't, as well known as today, of course, right? Carl Sagan being part of the Voyager, but I'm sure, what was that whole interaction like?
Well, I had been a NASA fan from, the very beginning, from the Apollo missions. So I knew of Carl quite a bit. I was in Los Angeles, around the corner from the Pasadena facility, which is where Jet Propulsion Laboratory is.
Okay.
And I had a partner there, Mark Bolai, and together we got the contract, the independent contract, to come in and join the team to actually sit next to Carl and the other image processing specialists. Basically what would happen is the spacecraft would spit a bullet of encrypted data.
Okay.
And it would travel millions and millions and millions and millions of miles and come back to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where it would be captured, then decrypted and expanded into digital data. And then we had to take the digital data and convert that into analog full color photographs, which is what we did. That was my particular job. And the photographs that I did not only went on multiple magazine covers, a National Geographic, and we had a touring show that went to all the big planetariums of 120 different images that we had taken from the Voyager spacecraft. These were the first high quality, high definition color resolution images ever. So it was quite phenomenal at the time.
Sounds about right, man. So, by the way, it's supposed to be a comedy hour, so let me ask you a couple questions. That's amazing stuff. I'm enthralled right now, but let me get to some funny questions here and there as well, right? So, let's see. Would you rather? I'm gonna play some Would You Rather. That's right. Would you rather go into the past and meet your ancestors, or go into the future and meet your great, God knows how many directions or generations you want to go? But future or past?
Well, for me, it could only be the future. We are not our past, and our future is yet to be defined. So I am a futurist. I'm a member of the Academy for Future Science, which is an international organization. And we believe that we're all in kind of a petri dish here, a spawning ground for our higher purpose, which is yet to be unfolded to us. And so we're basically in a classroom, and we're learning the techniques of how to live together, communicate together, survive together. And I think when we hit that proper harmonic convergence resonant, that's when the big changes will occur.
Layman's terms for that one. Well, so how do you say that in a more layman's way to describe it?
Well, when, let's
harmonic, because I heard harmonic
the
and I'm thinking harmonica.
Convergence. No, the harmonic convergence was something established early on by Jose Arguelles, who wrote the book about the Mayan calendar, and he deciphered the Mayan calendar, which was the 2012 film that was out, basically saying that this is the end of time. But it wasn't. It was simply the end of a calendar. Just like we have a new calendar every year, they have theirs every millennial period. And so we greatly misunderstood that calendar. We thought, oh my God, the world's going to end. People were going crazy in the year 2000. Are the computers going to shut down? Y2K and all that crazy stuff. But the reality is we were just coming to the closing of the Piscean Age and now embarking upon the Age of Aquarius, which we have known about, and many, many spiritual people have been talking about that transition into the future. And that's why, to me, the only thing that there is really is the future, and the future is now.
There you go. Wow, man, that's amazing stuff. So, for you to go to NASA, working with NASA, all the way to working with Willie Nelson, like and Moody Blues and all these major productions. What was that like? And how were you able to go from, again, working with imagery, the first few images, to having one of these gorgeous buttes right here, a platinum. This is my first time, by the way, ever holding a platinum plaque ever. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. But how in the heck did you get to this?
Well, this is an interesting story because, again, it all started at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, coupled with my love for the Moody Blues. I was a big fan early on. And as we were pulling these images down, as we were creating the animations that you see on PBS and on National Geographic of the spacecraft going through the rings of Saturn and out to Uranus and Pluto and beyond, we had all of those animations that we were creating and working with. And I was invited to be the audiovisual director of America's Salute to the Astronauts, the 10th anniversary of landing on the moon. Which was at the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas. And we had all of the surviving astronauts, all the living astronauts were there on stage. And it was a tribute to the accomplishments of NASA. And I had a live feed from the Voyager spacecraft down to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory to the top of the Dunes Hotel where we had a satellite dish installed, and then down into the ballroom. And we opened with live images from Voyager.
What year was this?
This was 1979.
1979.
Yes.
Y'all had satellites to send from
Oh my gosh,
place to
yes.
place to a hotel in Vegas.
Yeah.
And
Again, this is government, so we had the satellites we had. Computers were a different story, but satellites we did have.
There you go. Wow.
I was asked to do an opening segment for the show after that, and so I took the animations that we had pre-produced, I coupled that with some of the songs of the Moody Blues, and had a 10-minute curtain raiser that got a standing ovation. And interestingly enough, in the audience, and we had all top celebrities in the audience, was Jerry Weintraub, a very famous producer, film producer, and manager. And at that time, he was managing the Moody Blues.
Wow,
so he saw his band up there, heard the music, knew that I had not cleared the music or anything, and he had one of his associates come up to me and basically asked me to come over to his table, where he informed me that I was violating copyright laws and this whole big thing. And I was going, oh my God, my career is going down the tubes. And we talked for 5 minutes, and I finally said, well, you know, what I really was doing was trying to give you a demo for the Moody Blues' next album. And he went, oh, I like that. So he waived the lawsuits, brought me in and my associate, Jim Delatoso, and we conceived and designed the whole concept for the album and for the world tour. And we actually brought a model of the Voyager spacecraft into the concert venues on guide wires, and it would fly across over the audience, like the Pink Floyd animals and things that they have.
What an experience. It's a very engaging experience right there. Man, I wish I was there to see it. That's just crazy. I want to put this down and not have it damaged in any way, shape, or form, because that is one gorgeous piece of history in my hands.
And that album was great because it actually reinvented their career. They brought them back. The album went quadruple platinum.
Quadruple platinum. 4 million copies sold.
Actually, 2 million. It's for every 500,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so quadruple platinum.
Wow, man, that's amazing. Congratulations on that work. That sounds like quite the venture right there. That must be a proud moment, of course, in your
and then to hang
lifetime.
with the boys. I mean, to be there every night backstage. The Moody Blues, they are, in my opinion, the epitome of spiritual rock and roll.
Spiritual rock and roll.
And they have a very positive statement to their music. I love their music, and their fans, which again are a niche fan marketplace, but very devoted fans.
I bet. So I'll ask you another question as well, because we talked about NASA just for a bit, and you have some Star Trek background as well. So would you rather, and this is tough, for a lot of people this is tough. For me, not too tough, because I grew up on the latter. Would you rather be a character in the Star Trek world or in the Star Wars world?
Oh my, oh my. Well, I would have to say my ultimate goal in life would be to be an actor in the first Star Wars film.
Wow, okay.
At the beginning of the trilogy back then. I was a Star Trek fan. I actually met with Gene Roddenberry and discussed holographic imagery and special effects with him. But Star Trek, in its TV days, was kind of more comedy.
Yes.
And I took Star Wars more of our future. There was a meteor statement that was in that from George, and so I just bonded to Star Wars. Now, I lost that bond by the 7th and 8th and 9th movies, because again, the animations and things, it took it a whole other direction. But the first 3 films, to me, that's the epitome of George's best work.
There you go. That's what's up. All right, so we got a lot of fun stuff here behind me, or next to me, excuse me. This is 2011 MPIX Platinum Award, and tell us about this, because I see Lollapalooza and I see Support the Troops, which are 2 things I wholeheartedly want to support in the long run as well. Lollapalooza being in Chicago, the solid concert that happens every year.
Every year. Yeah.
And Support the Troops. Well, support the troops, right? So,
absolutely.
So what's this about? You got an award here.
Well, I created, my partner, Jason Esparza, and I put together Texas Roadhouse Live, the television series.
Very nice.
And we both direct, produce, and we're cameramen. We do everything, and we have our team that comes in. And so we were doing live concerts all across the state of Texas, and we did the Dogs on Hogs biker rally out at Lake Somerville. And believe it or not, the bikers are very, very pro-veterans, and many of our bikers are veterans.
Yes, that's correct.
And so the producers of that event wanted to have a 2-way back and forth to the troops to let them know how much we supported them. So I supplied, Texas Roadhouse Live supplied the video linkage, and we broadcast from the event over to Iraq, and then from Iraq they broadcast back to us. And it was really a pilot, it was just something like, wow, this is incredible, and we were all there. And it was just received so well that DIVIDS Hub, which is the government agency that handles communications to all of the bases and embassies around the world, came back and said, you guys did a great job. Our servicemen and women really need entertainment. They need their morale boost. Could you put a few more of these together?
Hey, there you go.
And so Jason Esparza and I sat down, and I called Lollapalooza. I had involvements at Jazz Fest. We shot Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam at Jazz Fest and sent that to Iraq and Afghanistan. Live 2-way feeds with people talking back and forth. We would bring the parents, the children and the wives of the servicemen on stage unbeknownst to them. And as they're talking to us at Lollapalooza or Jazz Fest, suddenly their wife and child comes up on stage and they blow them a kiss, and the audience goes crazy, and tears in everybody's eyes, and it's a wonderful thing to support our troops. I don't believe in military confrontations, and especially if you can avoid them. But when we're out in harm's way, we have to take care of our military, and God bless them all. And this was our little way of showing our support and doing what we could. So from Lollapalooza, we did Green Day, Blues Traveler, Soundgarden, Slightly Stupid. From Jay Leno's Love Ride, we put up the Foo Fighters, ZZ Top.
I had a beard a few months ago, like ZZ Top. You missed.
Oh, really?
But man, that's amazing. Wow. Okay. I'm getting too enthralled in this. I forgot I got a show to shoot. I'm over here having a conversation with this very legendary live event producer here as well. So let's take a little short break.
All right.
And when we come back, we're going to have more with Alan Ames here on NTV Houston with yours truly, Anil Suhani, with, of course, Late Night Vibes with Anil Suhani here on NTV Houston. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
During the Cadillac Season's Best Sales event, Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to-your-door dealer, delivers 0% APR for 72 months, plus $3,000 bonus cash on both the first-ever 2020 CT4 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, and the first-ever 2020 CT5 Luxury Collection for just $499 a month, both with only $1 down. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter Cadillac.com.
59 और वेस्ट बेलफोर्ड पर है नुक्कड़ ढाबा, जहां के मशहूर जमाना बॉम्बे तंदूरी चिकन, पहाड़ी बोटी, चिकन चटपटा और बटर चिकन तो आप जानते ही होंगे। अगर आप बॉम्बे चाइनीज खाना आप पसंद करते हैं तो जरूर उनके चिकन लॉलीपॉप और चिकन चिली ट्राई करिएगा। और एनटीवी ह्यूस्टन का नाम लेने पर स्पेशल है $1.99 में कॉर्न सूप। सुबह 8 से लेकर रात के 2 बजे तक नुक्कड़ ढाबा आपकी खिदमत के लिए खुला होता है। फॉर टेक आउट एंड अदर इंक्वायरीज कॉल 281-575-1178 at the corner of West Belfort and 59, Nukkad Dhaba.
During the season's best sales event, Ron Carter Cadillac delivers 0% APR for 72 months plus $2,500 bonus cash on all 2020 XT4, XT5, and XT6. Or drive 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection only $299 a month. 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection just $369 a month. And first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection just $399 a month. All for 39-month lease with just $1 down.
RonCarterCadillac.com.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Welcome back to Late Night Vibes with Anil Suhani here on NTV Houston. Thank you all so much for joining us once again for the final segment of the day, episode 12 in the books. It's going down here. And again, so happy to have our amazing guest here in the studios. Alan of all trades is what I dubbed thee. Alan Ames, Alan of all trades. Thank you so much for staying this long.
It's a pleasure.
Because it's a late night show, and I know you got a family as well. So, I'm so glad, by the way, again, that you're able to bring in all these amazing artifacts from, history that I would have never even seen before. So let's jump into this next one. You talked about Texas Roadhouse Live a little bit. Tell us what's going on, because I saw Motorhead, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah. This was one of the concerts that we shot. It was at here in Houston at Warehouse Live.
Okay.
And it's a very interesting show because, first off, Motorhead is considered the anchor of heavy metal. They are the ones that made the mold that everybody else started to break. But this particular show is unique in that we had Matt Sorum, who was the drummer for Velvet Revolver and Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
He sat in on drums. So it was really an amazing, performance at the Warehouse Live. Reverend Horton Heat opened for them and is one of the episodes of our TV series, Texas Roadhouse Live.
Okay.
But that's what we had there, and so we sat backstage with Lemmy afterwards, and he autographed those, and we talked about the early days of metal.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Like, you're in the room basically with these like gods of like rock and roll. I'm telling you.
One of his stories is that people keep saying, "Well, Lenny, why don't you cover some famous songs?" And he just said, "No, Motorhead plays Motorhead.
Motorhead plays
you
Motorhead.
cover me."
That's amazing. And speaking of songs, this one blew me away. I looked at your whole website and to see this right here. The music from the motions picture, Dead Man Walking, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
So you got quite a bit right there. We have Bruce Springsteen, Johnny Cash, Suzanne Vega, Lyle Lovett, a fellow Texan, yeah?
Yep.
And then one thing blew me away, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan with Eddie Vedder. What a combination. Holy smokes. All right, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan is like a Pakistani Indian, a singer. To be able to work with these fine folks right here, tell me about that. And man, and Eddie Vedder and Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, I did not see that combination coming.
Well, it is unique, and neither had I, really. This was something that when it happened and they came together for this show, it was one of those magical moments that you really couldn't plan. I got approached by Susan McMahon of Active Music, who had been approached by Tim Robbins, who wanted to do a benefit concert with these musicians that had played on the soundtrack of Dead Man Walking. In order to raise money and raise awareness to abolish the death penalty in the United States, which was the basic premise of the movie, Dead Man Walking. And of course, Susan Sarandon, his wife at the time, got her Academy Award for Best Actress for that film. Beautiful. Sean Penn was nominated. And Bruce got the Academy Award for Best Song.
The Boss.
MVFR, Murder Victims Families for Reconciliation, is this nationwide group. And they came out, and that's why I was there, because their premise is that death is not the answer.
Right.
Death is never the answer. You cannot bring someone who has been murdered back by murdering or killing the person that killed that person.
It can't be eye for an eye.
You're perpetrating the issue. the problem. Rehabilitation is what needs to happen. And we've seen so many examples of hardened criminals that have a complete lifestyle change while they're incarcerated, and they turn around and they create productive lives, and this is what it's all about. That's what our system should be. It should be a rehabilitational system rather than just incrimination. And so this was all about acknowledging that life is precious and that we need to find solutions to the issues, not just fight back. An eye for an eye, according to Bob Marley, will only make the whole world blind.
Yeah, wow. There you go. Wow. Beautiful stuff. I'm pretty pumped. And I got a couple questions that we talked about a little bit off the air. And I asked you, what are your top 5 values in life, and how you view it? Because I myself am, and I'm sure you agree as well for yourself, a student of life, right? So any person I ever meet, I like to learn what they know, because any and every person around me that you ever come in contact with is better than you or smarter than you in many or one aspect, and you try to understand what's that aspect that you bring to the table of knowledge and so on, right? And I'm all about turning this melting pot into a melting potluck, as we discussed, right?
Well, and that's the great thing. You see, no matter how smart you are or how much knowledge or talent you have in any situation, life is a schoolroom. It's a classroom.
Yes.
And we're all learning with every action that we take. And there's always something that you can learn from the person that you're interacting with. I firmly believe that. And if people would simply take the time and the sensitivity to try to extract that, rather than, a lot of people will look at someone and go, oh, I know all that, the thing, and they'll just cast you off. But, that's shallow and superficial. Everybody has something. And if you're put in touch with someone, there's a reason for it, I believe.
True.
To do service to yourself and that person, you need to find out what that reason is and then embellish upon it.
There you go. So you gave me honesty, love, compassion, vision, and faith, right? Of the 5 values, what made you say honesty first and foremost? Because, it's...
Well, I'll tell you, if the last 4 years is not a blaring example of the damage of falsehoods that we see on a daily basis and lies that people spew out of their mouths for their own personal purposes, truth is the foundation of civilization and humanity. Without truth, we have, basically we have assumptive chaos. We're all assuming this is what's going on. And because it isn't the truth, no matter how much you persevere or pursue it, it's not going to take you where you want to go.
I feel you, yeah, 100%.
So truth is important. We have to be honest with each other. And with that honesty comes integrity. With integrity, hopefully then becomes appreciation. With appreciation comes inspiration. Inspiration develops community. Community, come unity. Unity, come unity.
You mentioned love as your second value, right? So before I go to love and all that, I just want to ask you, would you rather have a late night dinner munchies fest with these two guys right here, Cheech and Chong, right here, Tommy Chong and Cheech Marin right here, who you're hanging out with, or would you rather have an Indian lunch or Indian dinner with Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan?
Well, to be honest with you, I would take that dinner with Nusrat.
Yeah.
Because I've had dinner with Tommy and Cheech.
Okay.
many times, and it's great. Not so much dinner, but the dessert is superb. And this actually, the shot you see there, I'm standing between Tommy and Cheech. That's me with my beard. And that is Shelby Chong, Tommy's wife, on the end. And this is at the Austin City Limits ACL performance that we did. And I directed the Up in Smoke tour for 7 years nationwide, over 140 performances.
Right here.
And on that show, we actually, in this particular one, Tower of Power had dropped off the tour by that show. But we initially had Tower of Power, War, and Cheech and Chong all together.
Wow.
And what I did is I decided, instead of having a concert where one band would play, then Cheech and Chong would play, and the other band would close out, I kind of put it all in a blender and mixed and matched it and made a variety show out of it. So Tommy and Cheech became the lead singers of War at one point in the show, and would sing songs from their films, Save the Whales, Basketball Jones, Why Can't We Be Friends, etc. And then they would go off and the band would play their set. And then Cheech and Chong would come back and they would do their stand-up comedy, their sketch comedy, Dave's Not Here, Santa Claus, all the great shows and bits. And then at the end, we'd have a big finale, and both bands would come back. Cheech and Chong would come back with them, and we ended with Why Can't We Be Friends? So we made it more of an event so that if you were a Cheech fan, you saw Cheech at the beginning, you saw him in the middle, you saw him at the end, you saw the bands back and forth. And it went over very, very well.
I bet, man. I'm all about that love and just pro love, and that's all they're about, man. I'm on the same wavelength as these guys. So like, wow, man, you couldn't have found better company, man. That's beautiful right there. That's historic. And so speaking of love, being your second list of values that you mentioned, I know we won't go into too much love because it gets too lovey-dovey, and it's like two grown men talking about lovey-dovey stuff on comedy, on a comedy variety show. I don't know.
Well,
if that's
I'll encapsulate. Bottom line is love is also known in the New Age world as agape, and agape. So it's not physical love, okay? It's really ultimate appreciation, respect, okay, and seeing yourself in the other person in you, and there's the cosmic egg in evolution.
Cosmic egg of evolution. There you go. No one's mentioned compassion just yet. So I'm curious, what compelled you to use the word compassion in your list of values?
Well, compassion is such a important tool, I'll call it, okay? Because compassion comes from an appreciation and an understanding of that individual that or individuals you're interacting with.
Yes.
And so compassion allows you to have a multi-dimensional feeling towards that person and what they're saying. Without compassion, you're hearing it, you're processing it in your computer, and you're reacting.
Yeah.
But compassion actually becomes interaction rather than reaction.
Yeah.
And so for me, compassion's important. I've met a lot of people that have been in harm's way, that have been hurt, that were misunderstood, that nobody cared about. And you give compassion to individuals in need, and then all of a sudden that spark ignites within them, and you bring them out of whatever it was they're in, and then they lead themselves back to what their purpose is in life.
Wow, man, holy smokes. I feel like you're like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of, all the most interesting things that have to do with the universe in a way. Now, I can't tell if you just got cataract or you just got some eye surgery recently, but what did you mean when you said vision as a life value? Because I wasn't sure what you...
Well, vision. There's an old famous phrase, without vision, the people perish. Okay? Vision is what is your inspiration. I mean, when you're inspired by something, you have a vision. You see it, you feel it. There's something there, and it pulls you to it. Now, you can increase your vision by exercising your mind and looking for things and being sensitive to what's out there. We're bombarded every day by a million different people and things and ideas and news and commercials and this, that, and the other thing. We have to see through that Maya to find that nugget, that real nugget that's out there, that golden nugget that is worth our time and energy, and then attach yourself to that and move forward with that. So vision is so important to look at what your actions are going to do in the future. And where you may not have an understanding, you know that at that point I'm going to need something rather than getting there and then having to deal with it. You have premeditation.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I feel like all this knowledge, you're starting to kind of sound like a modern day Yoda with better sentence structure. Like your sentence structure is actually about accurate.
Complete sentences, sometimes.
There you go. That's what's up. Last one, I'll ask you this one and then I'll geek out again because I want to get these out of the way. Faith is a value I hear quite often from a lot of our guests so far, right? The funny part is, to me, the fact that I know a lot of comedians who are majority, I would say they don't really talk about faith. They're more on the atheist side or the side that they don't really believe in one thing or another. But for you to mention faith and also talk about having a comedic background, it kind of made me giggle a little bit. I'm like, oh, a comedian's going to talk about having faith. This is going to be
not all comedians are atheists.
Right, exactly. So,
but the faith I'm talking about is not an external faith. Okay, don't misunderstand me there. It's not faith in Sri Bhagwan, whoever, or faith in this politician, or that individual. I'm talking about faith in yourself.
Okay, like inner faith, like faith in you.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are by nature insecure as human beings, all right? And there are times when suddenly, this is it's so comfortable. I know what I'm doing. I'm there, okay? I'm in my zone, as it were. Then there's so many times in our life where we're out of that zone, trying to get back into that zone, and someone sees you out of your zone and goes, oh, well, you're not that good. Oh, well, you can't do that. Oh, that won't happen. Oh, negative, negative, negative. And that breaks down your faith in yourself.
True, yeah.
So I'm talking about believing in yourself. And that doesn't mean saying, okay, I'm going to be a millionaire. I believe I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, believe in that. And when you get to 100,000, celebrate, And when you get to 250,000, celebrate. And if you never get to 1 million, who the heck cares at that point? Because, hey, you've celebrated twice. You've gone in that direction, and you believed in yourself.
Yeah,
100%. Okay? And faith is something that we can modify, and we can revise as the future unfolds itself to us, and we become more knowledgeable to our inner workings. Because I firmly believe that you have the answer to every question that you ever asked already inside your computer up here. It's just we don't know how to get to it. We're so scattered. We're so crazy with all this politics that are going on right now, like what's going on today. It's just,
and this week, crazy week with the whole Capitol. Praying for everybody who was impacted by this whole Capitol Hill thing this past week.
Yeah.
But man, that's some real. I hope people start paying attention to this show and stop paying attention to the politics of the world right now, because I've been preaching this as much as I can. Turn this melting pot that we live in into a melting potluck. Everybody brings something, awesome or interesting to the table. From what you just described, each and every one of us is the sum of our own experiences.
Exactly.
Right? So we all have our own twists and turns that we took in life, and with that, the knowledge we bring to the table is so vital for us to all properly coexist.
It's unique, our own perspective. There's no one else like that. Every one of us, I believe, has a purpose in life.
Yeah.
There's something that we were meant to do when we came into this incarnation and birth. And so we're here for that reason, and we need to fulfill that. No one can fulfill the purpose that I have. I can't fulfill your purpose. And if you don't fulfill your purpose, then that purpose no longer exists.
Whoa.
Okay, so it gets heavy out there. So you've got to have that faith in yourself. You've got to have your purpose, and you got to have perseverance.
Man, that's real talk right there. Talking to Alan Ames right here from everything. I don't even know. NASA to comedy to, man, the whole, you've pretty much done it all. You kind of, I feel like anywhere you go, whenever you leave the building, it sounds like Frank Sinatra's My Way or something to me in my head. I'm never thinking the way you're describing it. But we got a couple more things, and we're going to probably start wrapping up as well, because I feel like I geeked out and I lost track of time.
We have two different projects here. HP and me. HP is my father,
Yes.
Harold Peter Ames, and he passed away at age 93 a year ago.
Long life, man.
And at age 93, I meant, at 92, we sat down and I said, Dad, you've told us these stories all your life. They've given me the pathway to who I am.
Yeah.
Let's record these stories. Let's have you talk, and let's do a podcast. Let's put these statements of wit, wisdom, and philosophy coming from a 92-year-old disabled American veteran who has seen it all.
Wow.
And so we sat down, and he scripted them himself. I was the host. We recorded 36 episodes, which are currently out on Apple Podcasts. We then turned it into a book, My Little Corner of the World, which is available on Amazon.
Wow.
And what it is, again, it's 36 short stories, little 3-minute stories. The idea was to read it every morning or every evening before going to bed, just 3 minutes at a time, and it gives you a thought. A thought for the day or a thought for the night in your dreams.
There we go. Beautiful, man. Can't wait to read it. I'm looking forward to reading this right now.
And the podcast is available on my website, amesuniversal.com, so anyone can listen to any of those anytime they'd like.
What's going on here? This is a big one.
Well, this is one of my favorites, because what you're looking at there is the OG of country music and songwriting in Texas.
All right.
That is Billy Joe Shaver. We have so many phenomenally talented songwriters in Texas, from Townes Van Zandt to Tom Snyder to Ray Wiley Hubbard, Lyle Lovett. I mean, the list goes on and on. Willie Nelson, you know, and the gang, the Highwaymen, and so on. But every one of those people looks to this man as the person that is the OG. They broke the mold after Billy Joe Shaver, and his songs have been recorded by Chris Christopherson, Johnny Cash, Lyle Lovett, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings.
Everybody looked up to
yeah, you name it. It's amazing. And so we went down to Luckenbach, where Willie normally throws his 4th of July picnic, and Willie and Billy Joe are really, really close friends, along with Kinky Friedman, who also fits into this story.
Very nice.
And so Billy did a concert there, and we shot that, and it was a very simple show at a dance hall that really took you back 100 years, and the performance was so honest and so real that I had tears in my eyes listening to this man's poetry and the honesty of the delivery of his lyrics to the audience. And I'm just so pleased. In 2004, we did his 65th birthday bash at the Paramount Theater in Austin, and everyone came and gave a tribute to him.
Nice.
And unfortunately, earlier in 2020, we lost Billy in October. So we're going to be doing a live stream on a couple of different networks of this particular show, and I'm working with Kinky Friedman to put together a memorial tribute for Billy Joe Shaver.
Beautiful.
And it would be a concert where we would have a dozen or 15 different top celebrity artists who have covered his material come in, play their favorite song, tell their favorite story, and explain to people who may not be as up to par on country music. This man's poetry transcends country music. It transcends all genres of music. He just happened to be a good old boy from Texas.
Hey, there you go. OG Country Texas right here. Billy Joe Shaver. And is there, before we wrap up today, anything you want to say to our lovely viewers out there in TV land?
Well, just that, you know, we're looking, it's wonderful to be here on the planet Earth at this particular time. As crazy and as difficult as it is, we have box seats to what is probably the most dynamic time in the history of at least our period of evolution. And so we have to be proactive. We have to take that responsibility right now to do the right thing. Again, try to find the best in the people that you work with and the people that you don't like. For gosh sakes, at least try to find something good about them. There's always something good in somebody, no matter how different they are from your perspective or point of view. Let's have that compassion. Let's have some empathy. Let's put ourselves in the other person's position, and let's move forward, and let's take care of this beautiful little blue planet that we have, because we are the custodians, and we only have a few years left to change the course that we've been on for the last 50 years with pollution and what is happening with the infrastructure, let alone the politics. So I have a lot of faith in the future. You should too, and I put a call out to you. Okay, I'm going to ask you to go out and do something for someone you don't know today. When you're walking down the street, when you're parking your car, when you're in that Walmart, pay it forward. That little old lady who's buying that milk and loaf of bread, what's $3 to you? It's a lot to that little old lady. Think about that. Think about the way that you can create a change and make life a little happier, a little better for everyone.
Hey.
Yourself included.
Wow, man, that's what's up. Give me chills, man. That was really good. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Ames. Truly appreciate it. Alan, great time learning all about this history of Texas, NASA, and everything between. And thank you so much for taking the time to come through and make this happen.
Yeah, a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for staying this late with us here on Late Night Vibes with yours truly, Anil Sohani. This has been Late Night Vibes with Anil Sohani, episode 12 in the books, only on MTV Houston. Thank you all so much. H-Town till I stay down.
All right.